Hey everybody, just Jesse here, welcoming you back into my garage, my man cave for another day of accountability. I know I have crazy hair today, but today is Thursday, December 24th. It is Christmas Eve, the year 2020, and I wanted to go through Luke chapter 2 with you guys. Now Luke chapter 2 has to deal with the Nativity, the birth of Christ. Have you ever heard the story of the Nativity or Jesus' birth? We see that in Luke chapter 2 that Mary and Joseph had to go to Bethlehem because Caesar Augustus decreed that a census would be taken, much like the censuses that we take today here where we're at. But think about it. The trip from Nazareth to Bethlehem was about 90 miles. And I know that we have cars today, and so we can do 90 miles in an hour if you really drive 90 miles an hour. But in that time, they had foot and donkey and maybe a cart if they, had a little bit of money. But Mary and Joseph didn't have that. All they had was their own 2 feet and a donkey. Joseph, knowing that Mary is pregnant, tells her to try to take it easy and sit on the donkey. But I can only imagine that 90 miles sitting on a donkey could not be comfortable. I know that because my wife is pregnant, and I know that just sleeping in bed sometimes is uncomfortable. When you're 9 months pregnant, everything you do is uncomfortable. There's a child in you that is fully developed, that is ready to meet the world, and he's taken up all of the space in your womb, all of the space on your inside. He's pushing on things like your bladder, things like your lungs. He's kicking constantly and pushing his little hands out and moving, and it's very tiresome to see the one that you love pregnant at 9 months. I can only imagine what she felt during that time. And 90 miles could take up to a week if you really made that trek. It's through some lowlands that follow the river and over some hills. So after completing that trek, which is miraculous in itself, with a woman who is 9 months pregnant, they find out that there's no vacancy anywhere in the city because everybody's there for the census. So how sad would you really be when you get to your home territory, the city where you were born, to take a census, and there's nowhere to stay. There's no homie's house. There's no hotel rooms. There's nothing. And so the only place that you can find to take shelter is in a manger, is in a stable that has a manger. And a manger is just an animal's food trough. Now, Mary starts to give birth at this time while they're traveling. At the end of the travel, she could possibly have already had her first contractions, going into labor on the way into town, maybe even the day before. And all the time they're looking for a place to stay in order to, have shelter, in order to take care of all of the census stuff. Mary is in labor. Now, if you really think about the story the way it is, a king, God himself, God incarnate, was able to be so humble to be born in an animal food trough, be wrapped in strips of cloth, not anything that a king that you would think today would be showered with luxury. An angel appeared to some shepherds after Mary had had birth to her firstborn son. And these shepherds, after they rejoiced with the angel and after the angel left, decided that they would go and find Mary and Joseph and see what this was all about. So once they found Mary and Joseph, think about it now. Shepherds are watching their flocks, multiple shepherds. They leave their flocks. They leave them. They aren't even thinking about the safety of their flock that they are supposed to watch. They go and find Mary and Joseph, and they see this little baby sitting in a manger, wrapped up in strips of cloth, and they start rejoicing and praising God. And they go out and they tell the city what's happened and what the good news is, that the Messiah has been born in this town that they live in, the Messiah that everybody already knows about, and how exciting it is. Now, word travels fast, and King Herod heard that Jesus was born, and he had some motives in his life that he didn't want Jesus to be. He didn't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. There's a lot of law that says a bunch of different things about that. But 3 wise men, or as they called them, magi, made a trek. They followed this brilliant star that, doesn't happen ever, really. And the star points them in the direction of Jesus. Now, when they're going on their journey to find Jesus, Herod comes across those 3 magi, and he tells them, hey, when you find Jesus, come back and let me know. I'd love to worship him. So the 3 magi go all the way. They find Jesus at the tip of the star. The star shows them exactly where Jesus is. They bow down. They worship the King. They worship the Creator. They worship God. And they give him things like gold and frankincense and myrrh. And those were all things that were completely for kings and royalty. But they also knew in the back of their mind that they couldn't go home the same way. They couldn't see King Herod, because they knew that Herod's intention was not to go and worship Jesus. Herod's intention was to kill Jesus, because he knew that the Messiah would come in, and he just didn't believe that this boy that was born to an unwed woman was going to be the Messiah. They had rules for this. They had their own religious leaders there that had laws and stuff, that everything had to be so perfect. But after everybody had left, Mary and Joseph named the boy Jesus, just like the angel that appeared to Mary told her that his name would be. And so we celebrate the birth of Jesus and the coming of our Savior on Christmas, tomorrow. We celebrate his birth because of everything that he did for us, just by coming down and becoming human, becoming flesh just like us. I hope that the story in Luke chapter 2 really grips your heart. There are a lot of things that had to happen in order for this baby to be born here in flesh and blood. There's a lot of things that that prophecy was fulfilled by that happening. I know that if there's anybody dealing with any kind of emotional issues at this time of year, which happens a lot, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family. Don't think that you can take it on alone. Know that the birth of this boy, Jesus, he came here to help you. He came here to help your exact situation, like only he knows. There's no one else in this world that's going to know you better than God himself, the Creator. But in the meantime, if you do need help, please reach out. You can reach out to me here or on my social media, and that'll be provided in the link below in the Read More section. I would love to talk with you guys. I would love to know any of your comments or concerns, or if you think that any one of your friends could really benefit by hearing what the story of the Nativity is, just send them the video. Get it out there. You don't have to be shy. You don't have to be afraid. You're just sending a video. People send random videos to people all the time. Just know that this video that you're sending, or that you may be sending, has an important message. Much more important than any fail videos. Much more important than any other video that you could watch outside of anything that has to do with Jesus. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today on Christmas Eve. I hope that you guys are being safe. I hope that you're with family, that you're feeling loved. And if you're not, please reach out to some friends or family. I hope that you're going and growing. God bless.